What's up, guys? Thanks so much for checking out the channel again today. We are wrapping up our series here covering the southern coast nations and domains here for Birthright. So we have our last bit here on the other domain section where it's talking about sources. And again, sources really refers to wizards, and wizards in this game, if they're not necessarily running a actual like political territory, they do have the way that they work is basically by controlling these sources, which are kind of like natural areas of sort of magical concentration. So typically in lands and provinces where there hasn't been much development or civilization, and nature's kind of still there and untapped. So as it says here real quick, in general across the southern coast, not too many resident wizards, but most mages kind of seek richer pastures, finding the southern land a little too well developed for them to get a hold on the Earth's power. But those who do remain here are typically either already working for a regent or have some other independent wealth. So the main one that is mentioned here is High Mage Aelies, and he is lawful neutral, recommended as in, you get to play as him if you want to. And basically, he defends the Erebanian, which, if you remember back to our first video where we were talking about the country of Arenwe, it's kind of the southeast of the south coast. That's kind of his home area of operation, but he does also own extensive holdings in Roazhon. So, as you can see there, he's got quite a bit there. So one of his goals certainly is to make sure that that kind of stays undeveloped territory, because obviously, if things were to get settled, or the nature was disturbed or demolished in some way, then that would interfere with your powers there. So he does have he does generate a decent amount of regency, and he's got some accumulated as well. He doesn't really have a treasury to speak of, but basically you can, as far as the rules are concerned, as far as running like a country or province or a source in this case, you can convert regency into gold. But that said, you also can get that from other rulers, basically, where you hold influence, because you can sort of sell out or sell your sort of magical skills that you have here. Again, one of the neat features in this game is a thing called realm magic and battle magic, where realm magic can affect entire provinces or countries, whether you're buffing your lands essentially, or casting spells that can potentially hurt enemy lands. And similarly, you can cast spells that affect like whole battlefields at once. So lots of cool stuff there, and really kind of a neat opportunity to run him as well. So he's actually a level 16 wizard, so like there's no sort of mucking around with the low levels and not having access to powerful spells. So level 16 wizards has got some skills there. He's got a pretty solid bloodline as well, with from Vorin, and he is a half elf. 36 power on the bloodline. Again, he's lawful neutral. And yeah, so basically he has an extensive network of sources throughout the Erebanian, again, that forested area, from the mainly in Arenwe, a little bit in Roazhon as well. Again, you can check the map. Actually, that kind of plays at the start of the video if you don't have access to the regular Birthright map at all. But description. So he has survived hundreds of years, or so folks say. In any case, he's not the sort of man who brooks challenges to his power. To protect his sources, he must make sure the Erebanian continues to renew itself naturally. So he ties his power to the living land, to tree, stream, and rock. So as long as he keeps the land unspoiled, he can draw on its power. So that being said, he does have a little bit of competition in the southern areas. So his main kind of or closest rival, if really you could count him a rival, would be Roger or Roger Aglondier, the guy that runs Ilion. Again, check our review of that country. That's again sort of that smallish one province country. So there's not much magic to develop in that country itself because of how populated it is. So he does have some holdings also in Arenwe, so it's kind of like, again, your main rival because he's kind of in your territory. He has some across Roazhon as well, and then more westerly in Meduir and Ilion itself, but although that's just a level 0. So he has encroached a little bit in your area there. So, but that being said, as far as like a contest of actual wizardly skill, you're level 16. I think he was like a level 3 wizard. It just so happens he runs a country, but again, it's not a very large or powerful one in a military sense. But certainly, that would probably be one to try and sort of remove his influence gradually without necessarily causing any overly political repercussions from that, just because while most of the southern coast nations aren't necessarily strict allies, they're not really enemies either, except for like Diamond, again wanting to reclaim former territories. So in that sense, that would be like your main rival there. But you could also be looking at expanding northerly a little bit, but we'll cover that more when we get to the East Coast nations, and maybe trying to extend some of your influence into Orsorde. But with the ongoing civil war there, again, we'll get there later. That could be potentially tricky, but also plenty of opportunity there. Then others, again, there's Hermedhie, but he's more in the west, Diomed and Meduir, so that's not really your concern, at least yet. Mystique is this mysterious wizard over in that colony Miras across the pond, so to speak. But that's not really your area of influence either. The wizard Cain does have some sort of control or sources in the Spiderfell, but again, that's fairly dangerous and really could be a potential risk there with trying to deal with that. So I think really your main goal there would be trying to just keep your power steady in your territories there and maybe expand a little bit in Rosone. But again, I think sort of degrading Roger Eglandir's influence as far as the sources go would be kind of at the top of your list. And again, working on different ways to do that. Level 16 wizard, again, you probably have access to every spell you could possibly need. So it'd be worth working with your DM there just to establish sort of not just your kit, essentially your full kit as the character, but certainly you've probably accumulated several magical items and other things there, so you should have like pretty extensive resources in that regard. So could be a fun one to play. And then considering you're basically the top dog wizard of that whole area, you could certainly start attaching a little bit of a hefty fee to some of your your services there, and looking for opportunities to expand that way. Really, if you felt so inclined, you could probably go adventuring a little bit too, if that's part of your campaign, and seeing what else is out there that you could find. So, and again, you might find the ability to get some further or longer distance ley lines set up and things as well. So, nonetheless, pretty cool one here. And again, that kind of wraps everything up on the southern coast. Our next set of videos for these reviews will actually be seeing us go from the southern coast all the way over to the western coast and some of those nations there. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thanks so much for stopping in. Leave us a comment if you've actually run Aelies or encountered him or had some sort of dealings with or against him in your campaigns. What are your thoughts on that? Have you tried running a actual, not necessarily wizardly kingdom, but sort of wizard ruler in this system? Let us know what your thoughts on that. And if you could, leave us a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Thanks so much again for stopping in. We really do appreciate it. And we will see you in the next set of videos. Take care.